Whatever your mission, stick by it as if it were a law, and you would be committing sacrilege to betray it. Pay no attention to whatever people might say. This no longer should influence you. How long will you wait before you demand the best of yourself and trust reason to determine what is best? You have been introduced to the essential doctrines and claim to understand them. So what kind of teacher are you waiting for that you delay putting these principles into practice until he comes? You're a grown man already, not a child anymore. If you remain careless and lazy, making excuse after excuse, fixing one day after another when you will finally take yourself in hand, your lack of progress will go unnoticed, and in the end, you will have lived and died unenlightened. Finally decide that you are an adult who is going to devote the rest of your life to making progress. Abide by what seems best as if it were an inviolable law. When faced with anything painful or pleasurable, anything bringing glory or disrepute, realize that the crisis is now, that the Olympics have started, and waiting is no longer an option. That the chance for progress, to keep or lose, turns on the events of a single day. That's how Socrates got to be the person he was, by depending on reason to meet his every challenge. You're not yet Socrates, but you can still live as if you want to be him. Never identify yourself as a philosopher or speak much to non-philosophers about your principles. Act in line with those principles. At a dinner party, for instance, don't tell people the right way to eat, just eat the right way. Remember how Socrates so effaced himself that people used to approach him seeking an introduction to philosophers, and he would graciously escort them. That's how careless he was of the slight. If conversation turns to a philosophical topic, keep silent for the most part, since you run the risk of spewing forth a lot of ill-digested information. If your silence is taken for ignorance, but it doesn't upset you, well, that's the real sign that you have begun to be a philosopher. Sheep don't bring their owners grass to prove to them how much they've eaten. They digest it inwardly and outwardly bring forth milk and wool. So don't make a show of your philosophical learning to the uninitiated. Show them by your actions what you have absorbed. When your body gets used to simple living, don't preen over it. If you're a water drinker, don't take every opportunity to announce it. If you want to train for physical austerities, do it for yourself, not for outsiders. Don't embrace marble statues, but if you happen to be very thirsty, try taking some cold water in your mouth and spitting it out, and don't tell anyone. The mark and attitude of the ordinary man: never look for help or harm from yourself, only from outsiders. The mark and attitude of the philosopher: look for help and harm exclusively from yourself. And the signs of a person making progress: he never criticizes, praises, blames, or points the finger, or represents himself as knowing or amounting to anything. If he experiences frustration or disappointment, he points the finger at himself. If he's praised, he's more amused than elated, and if he's criticized, he won't bother to respond. He walks around as if he were an invalid, careful not to move a healing limb before it's at full strength. He has expunged all desire and made the things that are contrary to nature and in his control the sole target of his aversion. Impulse he only uses with detachment. He does not care if he comes across as stupid or naive. In a word, he keeps an eye on himself as if he were his own enemy lying in ambush.